Look, we don't ask God for Him to get rid of the problem. Because if you're asking Him to get rid of the problem, you're asking Him to get rid of the wisdom. What we want is not coming out of nowhere, it's coming out of the fact that God has prepared it for us, it's already there. He just needs you to start preparing yourself to receive it. So the thought will come for you to want to work towards those things. Sit down and think about, what is it I need to catch? What lesson I need to catch out of this situation? If I don't do that, and I don't do that soon, I can find myself in those things that I'm trying to achieve, but I will lose them like this. And that's not what I want. I want longevity. Like you want to have like a whole thing that lets you get to a certain level and never have to lose it, because you were okay with the process, you were patient with the process, and so when you get here, you don't need to lose it. Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Ndali Khatere and I host Power Circle Conversations. I'm so excited to be back. I haven't done this sit down and chat thing in a while. I think in over a month, because the whole of September I was actually focused on having interviews, and I hope you do get to check it out on my channel. But I was having interviews with people that I had 8 interviews, and I think only 3 of the people I personally knew. The rest I literally only found on social media, and I liked what's going on with their social media, and I asked them if they wouldn't mind having a conversation with me to promote Suicide Prevention Month. So September is Suicide Prevention Month and October is Mental Health Awareness Month. So to promote Suicide Prevention Month, I was having those interviews, and so for the past few weeks or whatever, I've just been posting the conversations that I had with these people on this platform. So please do check those interviews out. There's a lot of gems. It's people that I didn't know. Also, the conversations are very genuine. We didn't plan them out beforehand. I just sent them questions that I knew I wanted to guide the conversation around, just so that we don't lose focus of what we're exactly trying to do. And then when we got into the conversation, it was the very first time we were chatting around the space of suicide prevention, and so their answers and their perspective was very fresh and really from the core of what they truly believe in, and nobody's response was exactly the same as somebody else's, right? But yeah, which is pretty amazing. So do check that out. I made a TikTok video a few days ago about going back to source. Okay, I think I made it on Sunday, about going back to source, and it was also slightly backed up by, I mean, it's something that I truly believe in. I've always believed in God, and I believe that whatever source that you believe, whatever you believe is your source, that's important. Take it seriously, invest your time in it, grow your relationship with that source. Whatever it is, really take your time and build that unity with your source. Make sure that you guys are close. So for me, with it being God, I also take that the Bible does say if you draw closer to God, He will draw closer to you, and I take that very seriously. So I do my part, and I understand that my source is going to do its part. And the lovely thing about it, about having a source and depending on it, is because we need to understand that we are imperfect human beings, and especially in the space of mental health, we are ruining and hurting and falling apart when it comes to our mental health when we don't take our relationship with our source seriously. Many times when I found myself struggling, really seriously falling apart with my mental health, or getting suicidal or whatever, when I look at the situation, I removed my focus from source. I removed my focus from source to, how do I become a better child to my parents? How do I become a better businesswoman? How do I become this? How do I become that? And focused on those things instead of focusing on my relationship with source and understanding that He made me someone's child. He gave me this vision to start a business. He put me in all of these positions, made me someone's friend. So I need to go back to Him and say, look, Now I'm a child and I've got a parent, and I need to figure out how to relationship with this parent and how to make what we have going on work. So you give me vision for how to make it work, and he does that. And I come back and I'm like, okay, it was by your design that I am here creating, running a business and all of that. And this is the direction that it is taking. You give me vision for how to make it work, and he will do exactly that, right? He'll give me vision for how to make all of these structures work, and which one to let go of, and which one to grow, which one to invest in, and all of those structures. And at the same time, with so much ease, will provide me with the people that I need to connect with in order to be growing in all of these spaces, right? All of the relationships that I need to be building and all the partnerships that I need to be building. He will provide the environment, he will provide the people, he will provide all the sources that I need in order to grow in those places. And it will show me that it was by his design that I was meant to be doing that specific thing, right? So it is a matter of focusing on source, and source takes care of all of these things. You remove your focus from source, you are doing things on your own as an imperfect human being, you will hurt yourself. And you will hurt, most importantly, your mental health. I was listening to the conversations that I was having with all 8 people um for the suicide prevention month, like promoting that situation, right? So one thing that I also realized that men and women are speaking of is their relationship with source. And I think there was one guy, there was, most of them was the universe, yes. There was one guy that spoke about his relationship with ancestors, but everybody spoke about a relationship with God and how prayer does it for them and how a relationship with God does it for them. Guys, when I tell you this is something so powerful, like, it works for me, it works for the people that are around me. But it was so refreshing to hear from people that are saying, I implement it in my life in terms of this is how I work around things to preserve my mental health, so I never find myself in a place where I'm sinking so far to the point of finding suicide to be a solution. So even if we don't get to that point, but just losing yourself in your mental health, it's very difficult for you to come back from it. So one of the things that were really important out of those interviews was, what do you guys do that helps you maintain your mental health? And for everyone mentioned having a relationship with source and having a relationship with God. And I believe that that's another thing that needs to be taken so seriously. We just can't do it on our own. We just can't do it on our own. Right. Last point that I have was last week Sunday, and I guess these are all confirmations, right? Because it is the way that I live my life. But it just kept on being confirmation after confirmation after confirmation, and I just felt the need to express it to somebody else, so you maybe out of just watching this could receive the same type of confirmation for yourself. But at church, I learned that in order for, on last Sunday, right, I learned that in order for a miracle to happen, there needs to be a problem. So we want all of these miracles to happen, and we at the same time want to eliminate any type of pain. But in order for a miracle to happen, there needs to be a problem. How like, how cool and like clarifying of so many things is that? Like, that made me feel so calm. Another thing that I caught as well from church was that the storm is necessary for where you are going. Just hearing the whole conversation and the atmosphere at church last Sunday helped me understand the trials and tribulations that we go through. It's not, those are really not like the main problem. We need to worry about the fact that, or yeah, we basically need to worry about what lesson we are getting out of the trials and tribulations that we are dealing with at that point in time. Stop worrying about the fact that I've got so much pain that I need to carry and my mental health is falling apart, and no, worry about what is it that I'm supposed to be learning at this point in time. And I had a conversation with my coach a few days ago, I think on Tuesday, and I was telling her that I had to let go of a specific relationship, and before letting go of it, I've actually put it in prayer. So I didn't go to the person and be like, look, bro, I'm done with you, or look, friend, I'm done with you. I put it in prayer and told God about how important this relationship was to me and how I'm struggling with handling it and I need to let go of it, right? But also, I came back and I was like, God, but give me the lesson that I was supposed to catch from the situation, because it is not the first time that I'm dealing with the situation. So I need to stop thinking it's somebody else's fault that someone came into my life and they put me in a certain position and they made me feel a certain way. I need to stop thinking like that. I need to start thinking about how this was a problem, it hurt my feelings, and I'm not okay with it, and it's another trial, and okay, I get it, but clearly there's something that I'm not catching. And if you don't, and I think I made a video about this before, if you don't catch the lesson, if you don't sit back and be like, what exactly am I supposed to be learning out of this situation, you will go through that thing again and again and again and again and again and again and again. Because for you to go through it in the first place was because God needed you to go through something to understand your next situation. So you need to keep going through things in order for you to be able to be prepared for the next place, right? You need to keep going through these storms so that you are prepared for what's going to happen for you later on. So I had to sit back and be like, God, what is it about me that you are trying to teach me that I'm not picking up? And at the end of the day, also putting in the fact that I tried to do it on my own. I try to figure things out on my own and build these friendships and these relationships and these partnerships, whatever, without your presence in it or without consulting with you before attacking that situation. So help me figure out how to make sure that I'm like intertwined with you through all of these things, and now you are involved in the situation. There's a lesson that you need me to catch. I'm not just saying let's take away the whole thing and let me not be in pain at all. No, there's something that you want me to understand. There's something that you want me to learn in the storm in order for me to be prepared for where I am going, and give me what exactly it is. And the clarity does come. You will feel down for a moment, but the clarity does come. But you see what I say about having a relationship with Source. Because if I had to sit down and try to figure things out myself and just be like, what is so terrible about me that keeps attracting all of these terrible situations and human beings and whatever, what is wrong with my vibration? And as much as, yes, we need to do the self introspection, but having a source to go to that is all perfect, and being like, there is something that you are doing with me right now, and I am accepting that. I am not saying I don't want it, I don't deserve it, I'm not supposed to be, I'm accepting that there's something that you're doing with my life right now. But there's also something that you need me to catch out of it. You are letting this happen to me because there's something that you need me to understand in order for me to grow, right? So help me see what it is. And when we do things that way, we also remove the resentment around that situation. So if it is someone that is in your life that, like I said, I need to let go of this person, and then being like, what do I need to learn from this situation? If I wasn't thinking in that way, I was going to have resentment towards this person and be like, you keep hurting my feelings and you are in my space to damage things and you are ruining my focus on what I'm supposed to be focusing on, and it's on you and it's on you. And every time I see that person, I'm going to have this whole big resentment. Anytime someone comes to me and they mention their name, I'm going to be like, my mood is going to be ruined, right? So I can't afford to be running around in that energy. I need to be okay with the fact that this person was in my life and be okay. And you know what? This is the position that you had in my life. And clearly, there's something I need to catch about it. Especially because I know it's not the first time I am in a situation like that. Final bonus point. I was listening to Christian radio on Monday morning, and this host said that some time ago he was praying over someone that asked for it, right? Could you please pray with me? I've got a problem, and he did that. But he also came back and said, look, we don't ask God for him to get rid of the problem. Because if you're asking him to get rid of the problem, you're asking him to get rid of the wisdom. I was like, oh, yes. You're asking him to get rid of the wisdom. Because the trial, the tribulation, the problem, the storm, the situation that you're in that is problematic to you or hurtful to you or whatever it is, actually is going to teach you something. It's going to be a lesson. If we're going to ask God, get rid of the problem completely, or ask Source, get rid of the issue completely, you are indirectly asking Him to get rid of the wisdom. And we can't afford that. I actually looked at how my life had been in the past, I don't know, few years or whatever, and I realized there are some situations that I didn't handle well because I didn't understand mental health. Wow. And later on, I got stuck in really weird spaces. And when I got out of it, I understood mental health to the point of being able to say, I done messed up over there because I didn't catch what mental health, how it really could affect you as a person. So now, because I have been through it, and I've been through it so deep that I currently don't know how I got out of it. Had it not been for my relationship with Source, I don't know how I was going to be out of it. Now I understand where mental health and what it does, and I'm more willing to learn. I'm more willing to walk the path with the next person that is struggling. I'm more willing to impart with information because I have been there, and now I understand. And that's what happens with us being in the storm. That's what happens with us being in trials and tribulations. We're not even having all our issues. It's that we are gathering all of this data. God is teaching you something. He's giving you a lesson, and you get to catch that in order for you to be prepared for where you are going. Now, also after what I learned at church on Sunday, while I was journaling, because when I pray, sometimes I lose focus in terms of concentration for my prayer, because I don't know, sometimes there's like a little ADD switch that switches, that shows up. So my concentration span is like terrible. I lose focus so easily. So to maintain my focus, I will have worship music, I will have all of that while I'm praying, and then sometimes I decide I'm going to write down the prayer that I'm trying to make, right? So there'll be a prayer journal, then works for that. So I went to prayer journal, and I'm expressing how I interpreted what I took from church, right? Light bulb, thought, whatever came to me to go back to my list of things that I've asked from God. So I remember watching a video by Steve Harvey, and it's one of his vision board videos, one of his videos where he promotes like the idea of having a vision board, and he says, have a list of 300 things that you want from God. And he's like, when you get to 75, you're going to struggle because we don't know how to ask, and there's just like a whole lot of trauma that comes from being able to ask or demand, or ask generally. It starts to feel like you're demanding, and am I allowed to say this is what I want? Whereas at the end of the day, what we want is not coming out of nowhere. It's coming out of the fact that God has prepared it for us. It's already there. He just needs you to start preparing yourself to receive it. So the thought will come for you to want to work towards those things and ask for those things, because you're now working towards receive. Okay, that's a whole vibration talk. So he speaks about having a list of 300 things that you want from God. And he was like, by the end of a year, you will see at least 10 things that God has provided for you. And like, he explained it. Just go check out Steve Harvey's situation around it, around the 300 things that we need to list out. So I have a list that is based on that. And I was like, let me just go back to this list, right? I'm still not at 300. It is difficult. It is so difficult because, and it's not supposed to be difficult. What makes it difficult is if you're an overthinker and now you're over analyzing every little detail about what you're asking. So I'm working on it, I'm praying about it, I'm figuring it out. Therapy comes in, and like, we're working on it. So we'll get to 300. But there's stuff on the list. When I went back and I read all of those things, and Steve actually says that you're supposed to read it day and night, right? So maybe that's where my other problem is, because I don't day and night that list. I just went through it that day, and I saw the stuff that I believe God has prepared for me, because they're not in my heart for no reason. I saw the stuff that He has prepared for me, and I'm like, oh my, it only makes sense that I've got issues that I'm going through right now. It only makes sense, because if there's a specific or a certain level that I am to get to and that is prepared for me, if I don't want to lose it, I need to be prepared too. It is there, it is sorted, and I'm going to achieve it. And yes, God is on my side with it. But if I don't want to lose it when I get there, I need to be prepared as well. And I looked at my list and I'm like, my goodness, if I start seeing my current problems and the stuff that I've been through, and the hurts and the traumas and the whatever, and I start seeing them as things that I don't deserve to be going through, and God just needs to take away a pain and whatever, and stop and not sit and really realize that I need to sit down and think about what is it I need to catch, what lesson I need to catch out of this situation. If I don't do that, and I don't do that soon, I can find myself in those things that I'm trying to achieve, but I will lose them like this. And that's not what I want. I want longevity. I want generational wealth. And all of these things I want in specific ways, in like so many different angles. And I understand that I need to be in the process of being able to handle that level. I need to be in the process of meeting certain people that are going to guide me to that place, but also building relationships with those people that are going to guide me to those places. You know what I mean? Like, you want to have like a whole thing that lets you get to a certain level and never have to lose it, because you were okay with the process, you were patient with the process, that you built alliances, you built relationships, you learned new spaces, you learned new places, you learned new environments, you learned new languages, you unlearned certain things that you were conditioned to understand at a certain place, and you relearned something else. And so when you get here, you don't need to lose it. We get it. I got so excited after looking at it, and I'm like, nah, I'm cool. I'm not in no rut. Like, I'm not in no rut. Like, it's really not that bad. It's really not that bad. I just need to look at every situation and be like, what is it do I need to learn from here? Right? Okay, let me lose clients from my business and come back and be like, okay, cool. So what is it do I need to learn? Do I need to learn to go back to them and ask them, guys, what is it that made you decide not to come back to me? So they can tell me, your product doesn't last, you have this, that. I didn't like the way that you spoke to me. Your attitude was a problem. So now I can go back and be like, okay, so I got an attitude problem. Okay. And it's affecting my business and my money. Okay, fine. So now I start fixing the attitude problem. Oh, okay, you were not, I don't know, you came here and you were all over the place. It was filthy and whatever. Oh, I need to start taking care of hygiene and neatness. And okay, cool. Let me start practicing that out. You know what I mean? Like, Life is not that tricky, guys, when you have source and the our source, our higher power, God, is just waiting for us to dive into that relationship with Him and to take it seriously, to take having that, I don't know, that foundation, that, yes, foundation, that foundation. He needs us to invest in that foundation with Him, that solidity thing that's going to make sure that we and Him are on solid grounds. He just needs us to do our part and He'll do the rest, right? We are not perfect. Let's not forget that. So it is okay for us to fall apart, to make mistakes, to try and try again and fall and come up and not get it right. And it is okay. But we've got a powerful, all perfect place to go to. And let's take advantage, good advantage of that, right? It created us. It knew that we was going to need it. So let's need it. Let's utilize it. All right, guys, that's it for today. Thank you so much for watching and listening to me. And yeah, let's go back to source. Let's build our relationship with source. God is just waiting for us, right? Don't forget to like, don't forget to subscribe, and yes, that's on that. Oh, otherwise, do remember to check out my website, vbw.company.site. There are some mom diaries and wow diaries that I have added to my websites now. So they are for 2023, right? So get yourself your 2023 diaries, start preparing for 2023. Otherwise, get yourself your year planners, get yourself some journals that you're going to be using as prayer journals. And yeah, let's continue to grow ourselves, guys. I will see you in my next video.